Good evening. Welcome to the March 30th, 2023 meeting of the Dickson County School Board. Members of the audience are reminded that this is a meeting of the Dickson County School Board to conduct the business of the school district in public. So thank you all for being here tonight. And if you will, please join us in a moment of silence. Thank you. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Thorne.
Attention, salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which sustains one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, ladies and gentlemen, tonight our pledge has been led by the Wildcats. These students, that's right, Bill, that's our select students and problem. They are prime examples of what we look and expect. The students of Vanderbilt Elementary School, they have shared with me the highlights of the year that include a math project to get to work on fractions. We've talked about the safety and security of their buildings, and the appreciation of the things that have taken place, the way the teachers take care of. Talk about nice teachers that we have, especially our PD teachers that work with us. Perhaps the best thing of all is the skate-a-thon. Students get to skate down the hall. So, boys and girls, we appreciate who you are. We appreciate what you're doing. Again, great leadership, fine example. Miss Annie Gray, she is a 4th grader. Jacob Baer, who's in the 5th grade. Brian Turnbuckle, 2nd grader. Barrett Sluck in the 3rd grade.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your leadership. Parents, you are welcome to stay or you can leave. You can, just whatever is best works for you. Thank you all for being here. Board members, we have been presented with an agenda. Hopefully you all have had an opportunity to review that. Dr. Weeks, any additions or corrections?
I have one.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chadwick.
I had requested back in January to be on the March agenda to talk about bids.
Okay.
Don't see it, so I'd like to be added, please.
4C. We'll add it under 4C. 4C.
What is that, Mr. Chairman?
To discuss bids.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any other changes or additions? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Underwood. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have on the agenda to approve the minutes from the previous meeting, and that's February the 23rd, 2023. Hopefully you all have had an opportunity to review those minutes. Any changes or corrections to the February 23rd, 2023 minutes? Hearing none. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. Second by Mr. Haley. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda, we have under item number 2, recognition, staff recognition. Dr. Weeks.
Board members, it's time for our quarterly employees of the quarter. Mr. Haley, I would ask if you could help me introduce our first employee of the quarter, please, sir, if you don't mind. Our employee of the quarter for the 3rd quarter of the year is Mr. Thomas Alford from our maintenance department. I know he's in here somewhere. Thomas started his career with Dickson County Schools in 2018. He worked as a maintenance technician at Charlotte Elementary, Charlotte Middle, New Directions, and at Van Leer. In 2021, Thomas moved to the maintenance shop where he performs the duty of maintenance warehouse and purchasing. He's open to discussing any work-related issues and always willing to help others. We can always count on him to be the first person to work and the last person to leave every day. When needed, he visits buildings to help other staff that need an extra hand. He also works with our work-based learning to guide the students through the ins and outs of receiving products and shipping those products out to school. Thomas, you do a great job for us. We appreciate you very much. Thank you for all you do. Ms. Brogdon's going to help us recognize our next employee of the quarter. Our employee of the quarter from School Nutrition is Miss Vicki Biggs. Miss Vicki works at the cafeteria at Charlotte Middle School. She's been employed by Dickson County School Nutrition since 2015. She's dedicated to the staff and students there at Charlotte. She enjoys seeing the children come through the line with their smiles and their excitement. She always offers encouraging smiles to each child and extends that helping hand to all staff members and coworkers. She's a true ambassador for our school system, School Nutrition, and for Charlotte Middle School. Miss Vicki, thank you for all you do. And board members, finally, I would like to recognize Mr. Larry Robertson from our transportation department. Mr. Robertson is very ill tonight, and he's not able to be with us. And our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family. Ms. Garten is here to accept the certificate on his behalf. But Mr. Robertson has been a transportation employee for more than 25 years of our system. He also has worked in auto technology, agriculture teacher before he's done that for more than 17 years. He keeps the students' best interest at heart and goes above and beyond what's needed there. And again, our thoughts and prayers are with Mr. Robertson this evening. So thank you, Ms. Garden, for recognizing him.
Good. Thank you to all the staff, what they do. So, all right. We'll move on to item number 2B, recognitions, student recognitions for middle school recognitions.
And tonight and during March, we always recognize middle schoolers who have exceeded at any level above the county level. So if they've won any recognitions outside of our county, we recognize these individuals for doing that. Mr. Parker, could I ask you to help presenting our first group of certificates, please? First of all, the Charlotte Middle School volleyball team. And I know there are lots of young ladies out here who've done a great job. These ladies were runners-up in the state sectional tournament, and they did a great job, and I had opportunity to see them play many times. Congratulations, ladies. Thank you for being here tonight. Mr. Parker, while you're up, I'm going to let you do our next certificate while we're still here about our Charlotte Middle School girls basketball team. And I bet we'll see several of the same folks here and a few others. Charlotte Middle School girls basketball team were runners-up in the state championship. Thank you, girls.
Thank you. Thank you all for
Mr. Underwood, could I ask that you help me please by recognizing the Dickson Middle School football team? They were the undefeated conference champions from Dickson Middle School. Mr. Crossett and Dickson. Coach Prophet, am I correct? These are all eighth graders that have been on the team 2 to 3 years.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations, guys. Thank you for your undefeated season and your work that you've done.
Let's see the back of these sweatshirts. It's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Good job.
And Mr. Underwood, if you would also help us recognize another conference champion from Dickson Middle School, the Lady Dragons basketball team. Thank you, girls.
Yeah, I got the trees.
Congratulations. Good job.
Mr. Chadwick, would you like to help us introduce the next group? These are individuals.
James, individuals are not if they are on the plane.
They are playing ball tonight as well. Okay. Miss Shadley Rogers is a musician from Burns Middle School, and we're here with her teacher, Mr. O'Neill, and she was recognized by the Middle Tennessee Schools Band and Orchestra Association for her excellent work, and that is quite a compliment for a middle schooler to be in that group. So thank you.
Congratulations. That's all. Thank you all. Congratulations to those middle schoolers. So next we have, let's see, under 2C, student board representatives, and I think Miss Ann Claire, one is going on in Creekwood.
Creekwood students and staff had a great spring break and are back and ready to complete EOCs and the end of the year testing to finish out the last quarter of the school year. With academics, on March 7th, the junior class took the ACT while all other students participated in a remote learning day. They worked extremely hard to prepare for the test and are excited for the scores to come back. There was a senior meeting held on March 14th to discuss everything we need to know between now and graduation, such as prom, finals, and cap and gowns. After 6 months of preparation, a big congratulations to our clinical interns for earning their clinical medical assistant certification today. With clubs, over spring break, the FFA club attended the state FFA convention in Gatlinburg. 4 of the 8 students that were in attendance competed and brought home 3 chapter awards. On March 6th, HOSA Club donated over 1,000 books to Charlotte and White Bluff Elementary School, thanks to our amazing students for donating. HOSA also held a blood drive on March 13th and collected 49 units of blood, saving 147 lives. The HOSA Club is getting ready to travel to Knoxville next week for the state leadership competition. The Thespian Society is gearing up for the spring play, Shrek the Musical. Performances will be April 14th through the 16th and April 21st through the 23rd. The Creekwood Skills USA welding team competed in the Arkansas Elite competition and placed in the top 15 out of 70-plus teams represented by 8 different states. With sports, on March 1st, the Lady Red Hawk basketball team was named Region 5 AAA tournament champions after defeating Central Magnet 36-33. Brianna Burgess, Laura Nichols, and Abby Baker were named 5 AAA All-Region team, and Brianna was named tournament MVP. The soccer team began their first match of the season on March 13th against Hickman, winning 10-1. They have had a successful season thus far and look forward to playing against Dickson tonight. On March 11th, the track team hosted a meet with Creekwood girls coming in 2nd and the boys in 5th. The tennis team has started playing and looks forward to an exciting season. Over spring break, the baseball team traveled to Huntsville, Alabama to plan the James Clemens High School spring takeoff. The softball team played in their first district game Tuesday night against Montgomery Central. After 11 long innings, the Lady Redhawks pulled through, winning 4-3. Creekwood Fishing competed in a couple tournaments throughout the month of March. On the 11th, several teams fished at Harris Landing in the West Tennessee Trail. Jack McElwain and Dyson Weaver placed 12th. On the 19th, the teams then moved on to Lick Creek on Lake Barkley, where Jack and Dyson also placed 7th. Jack and Dyson currently hold first place in point standings for West Tennessee out of 200 boats and 400 fishers. They are looking to keep that title until the championship in May. Stone Grove and Logan Allen are currently ranked 10th in point standing. Creekwood High School is excited to see what the rest of the year has to bring. The senior countdown has begun, and we only have 33 days left.
Okay, all right. Board members, questions about what's going on in Creekwood?
It's pretty impressive.
A lot going on.
200 boats, 400 kids, and we're ranked number one. Yeah.
All right, Ms. Thompson, what is going on in Dickson County?
Quite a bit. So while Cougars spent a week at home this month for spring break, students have been exceptionally busy. March 1st, 85 freshmen signed up to take the pre-ACT in a lower campus cafeteria. This was a great opportunity for students to familiarize themselves with the ACT structure and format. On Tuesday the 7th, juniors attended the State Junior ACT Test Day, while other students had a smooth and successful virtual day for both. The 50-day countdown to graduation started at the beginning of this month. Each day, youth leadership students design images related to national holidays, colleges, school sports, clubs, and organizations that hang in the hallways for a fun way to ring in our last few days together. Seniors attended the annual senior meeting to learn about prom, cap and gowns, graduation practice, and the set graduation makeup days. All students went home with a pamphlet and itinerary to share with parents. Seniors will also be receiving a special package tomorrow with their white or blue cap and gown and their 2023 tassel. All DCHS faculty met after school on the 7th for their annual Chips and Salsa faculty meeting. Teachers and administration spent over 3 hours discussing candidates for the highest awards given to the class of 2023. Coach Holly was excited to announce our gold medalist recipient, Brody Reynolds, silver medalist, Hannah Wallace, and bronze medalist, Caitlin Pauley. The girls and boys citizenship winners were Annabeth Thompson and Jabari Killebrew. Our departmental awards were also announced this morning. I will spare you all the time from reading all those, but they're included in your packet. So in sports, the boys soccer team recently attended the Smoky Mountain Cup, where both the junior varsity and the varsity team went 2-1 over the weekend. As we speak, the team is currently facing off against the Creekwood soccer team. Go Cougars! Last month, I had to throw that one in. Last month, Emily Fuller and Kristen Alsa traveled to the state wrestling tournament to compete. We are very proud of Emily for placing 5th overall in the state. While Kristen did not place, she recently announced that she will be wrestling at college on a full scholarship. Congratulations to her. Members of the track team are already breaking school records fresh into their 2023 season. Sarah Potter broke a school record that has been held since 2011. Rachel Brewer, a new DCHS track member, is set to break multiple records in both hurdles and races this season. Both the softball and baseball teams are hitting home runs left and right, with recent ones from Logan Myatt, Kay Pilkington, Libby Wilson, and Sadie Green. The new DCHS cheer coach, Alyssa Richardson, is holding tryouts for the 2023-2024 team, and the dance team is having their tryouts as well. Our boys and girls basketball team had an exceptional season this year. Both teams placed second in their regional tournament, earning the right to play in the state sections. The teams traveled to Memphis, where the girls played Memphis Bartlett and the boys played Memphis Overton. Sorry. While we were sad to see their seasons end here, both teams played exceptionally well and fought hard to make it to this point in the state tournament. Clubs on the Hill are fitting in their final activities of the year. Our DCHS FFA traveled to the FFA convention in Gatlinburg over spring break. 7 of its members came home with their state FFA degrees. This award has been named, quote, the highest degree that the Tennessee FFA can bestow upon a student. It comes from a record of hard work and dedication inside and outside of the classroom. The Cougar Speech and Debate team had 3 out of 5 students qualify for the state tournament in the next few weeks. Students in their first year of youth leadership Dickson County spent a day at the Tennessee State Capitol. They had private tours with local state representatives and got to meet with Governor Bill Lee. These students are currently working on their hands-on project to help improve a student-picked topic on school grounds. The second-year youth leadership students are busy designing the 50-day countdowns, finalizing our new clothing closet, and managing the 10th annual dance-off in the Den. As we have T-minus 33 days as of tomorrow until graduation, students are spending these last days busier than ever. I encourage you to take a quick trip up to the hill when you have an opening during your day. You're guaranteed to be entertained with numerous different sporting events, dance-off practice, club meetings, play practice, and other student activities. Thank you.
Thank you. Board members, questions about what's going on in Dickson County High School? A lot going on in both schools. Thank you all for those presentations. 33 days. Not much time. Thank you all. Thank you. I guess next month may be your last presentation. So anyway, thank you all. All right, we'll move on under item 3, staff reports, recommendations under 3A, curriculum and instruction. Dr. Lee.
Board members, the process of adopting a textbook is governed by the State Department of Education, and currently textbooks are on a 7-year adoption. And it has been the year that we adopt math textbooks, and the process started back in the fall when committees were gathered together to study the textbooks. Textbooks have been on display at the public library, and again, we're thankful for the library for displaying those for us and taking comments. Ms. Bobian and Ms. Outlaw have led those committees, and you see the recommendations from those committees in your packets. So under item 3A1, elementary math textbook, they would like to recommend to us to purchase it's called iReady. It is a Curriculum Associates product, and it is a very high quality product, we believe. And the secondary math is a little more complicated than that because of the different courses. So you see the recommendations from Ms. Outlaw's committee. Grades 6 through 8 will be using a product called Reveal from the McGraw-Hill Company. In Algebra 1, 2, Geometry, we'll be using Big Ideas from the Big Ideas Learning Company. In Statistics, we'll be using Savats. Elementary Statistics will be using the Triola project. Pre-Calculus will also be using Savas and Pre-Calculus books with Blitzer. And then you see some notes on AP coursework and different things of that nature that we're going to continue to work with the State Department on picking text for those. So these do come with recommendations from teacher committees that were approved. They've worked very hard since, I guess, mid-fall at least, all the way up until a couple of weeks ago. So you see the recommendations coming from those committees. So this will be authorizing the selection of these textbooks as well as their purchase for next year's budget.
Board members, questions, comments, thoughts?
What's the mathematical reasoning for decision-making, Corey?
Ms. Outlaw?
It's a brand new course that's going to be offered this next year, and it is geared for some of our students that are planning on attending TCAT, going into the military, perhaps going into the workforce. And it has a basis in financial literacy, both personal finance and a business finance standpoint, as well as some geometry, some statistics, and some programming. So it's just a brand new course that's building from the ground up. That's why there are no textbooks that were available for that adoption this time.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments, or thoughts? Is there a motion to approve the recommended elementary math textbooks and the secondary math textbook?
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Brogdon, second by Mr. Chadwick. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Vanderbilt,
Yes?
Ms. Brogdon,
Yes.
Mr. Haley,
Yes.
Mr. Chadwick,
Yes.
Mr. Underwood,
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you all for your work on this. I know you've been very diligent and we appreciate you doing it. We'll move on to the next agenda item under 3B, under finance, monthly reports. Dr. Weeks.
Members, in your packets, if you'll find item 3B1, you'll see our revenues to date are 54.8 million, or 75% of our budget revenues. Our expenditures are at 45.9 million, or 58% of our revenues. Property taxes, you'll see, have already come in exceeding our budget, 10,398,000. Sales tax, again, is very strong, $11.7 million. Our utility bills that we watch consistently, overall utilities 1.8 million, diesel fuel 398,000, and gasoline 81,000. Obviously, because of those numbers, you'll be seeing several budget amendments coming to you at our next meeting. Detailed reports are following on the pages. You see the Fund 141, our general fund, followed by 142, our federal programs fund, and our 143, our school nutrition fund. And Ms. Fraser is here if you have specific questions.
Board members, questions about the monthly reports? Everyone's had an opportunity to look at it and review it. Take our time.
I've got a question
Ms. Frog?
on, the general purpose, the other vocational 46790. Or it's 0%. Is that just something you're still expecting? It's on page 2 of 5 is what it says up here.
Okay.
46790, where it's still at 0%.
We have not received any of, any reimbursement yet. This is that, ISM grant that we approved, and we were making purchases out of that money, but it works like some of our other funds whereby that we have to spend the money and then we request reimbursement. So we have not received any reimbursement yet for any of those expenditures.
Thank you.
Mr. Haley?
Do some of the ESSER grants work the same way when we spend the money and get reimbursements?
Yes, sir. Tennessee is a reimbursement state. And so federal grants, all federal grants are that way. We have to spend and then get reimbursement.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments on the monthly reports? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the monthly reports?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Brogdon. Is there a second? We have a second by Mr. Parker. Any further discussion or comments? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Vanderford,
Yes?
Ms. Brogdon,
Yes.
Mr. Haley,
Yes.
Mr. Chadwick,
Yes.
Mr. Underwood,
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
All ayes.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda under 3B2 CPE purchase. Dr. Lee.
Members, these purchases come from that exact line item that we were just discussing. It is the part of the ISM grant. You do have a recommendation from Mr. LeCount. Purchases 3B2, dated number 1, are for the tractor. This is for the high school CTE programming. And you'll see this one is for Creekwood in the amount of $39,222.22. And that is a state contract 66012. We'll separate these.
Yes. Okay. All right, board members, any questions about the proposed purchase of the New Holland?
Which one of those for Creekwood?
This first tractor is for Creekwood.
The Workmaster?
Yes, the Workmaster 50.
And this one is for, this one's for, Dickson?
Second one at Dickson County High School, the $40,504.53.
Mr. Underwood, just to clarify, this one, the what I understand, the Workmaster 50 is for Creekwood. Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
33,749.
There's some attachments and accessories on the second page of that.
39.
2-page printing got me, didn't it?
There,
Thank you.
39-222-22.
That comes as a recommendation. Any other comments or thoughts or questions?
What are they going to be used for?
This is the program that Mr. LeCount described to us at our last board meeting, and there was some discussion on when we were at Stuart Burns about the types of tractors. So I think mainly he said this was just to teach agriculture students the process of driving the tractors and using the attachments. Would also be used in their agricultural programs.
Looks like it comes with a bush hog, a rotary cutter, bush hog, box blade.
Any number known of how many students in the ag program that don't currently live on a farm?
I don't think we'd have that information right off the top of our head. No.
Is this has something to do with certification in the program or what?
You've got a teacher.
Huh?
One of the teachers is here. Mr. Weaver's here.
Okay, if someone would like to speak to that, is anyone here from Creekwood or?
Mr. Weaver and I are both from Dickson County High School, and I can speak to the fact that
Sure.
it's not for any specific certification. It would just be for general purpose use by the program. Teaching tractor safety and then the upkeep and maintenance of our facilities, the small animal and the yard animal facilities.
I would add that in our course we offer at Dickson High School is ag component. There's actually a standard that says that you have to teach a kid how to operate a tractor safely. That's that best.
Right.
Right now, we're not capable, we don't have that, correct? Right.
But what is the coder going to be used for?
Dickson is all our factories on the side of the hill.
But students will not be doing that, right?
That's not included in the maintenance.
Did we get any other bids besides New Holland? If so, I don't have them.
No, so this is the recommendation that Mr. LeCount brought. He purchased that off of state contract. So the contract number on there is 66012, and I think that gave,
Well,
best I remember, it was a 24% discount off of base costs.
Well, I know John Deere and Kubota are both local here, and they bid the tractor before. So I was wanting to see the contrast in the bids. What was the price difference of these different tractors now?
I think there was some discussion from what I recall on which models and what usage or how the tractors will be used. And I asked Mr. LeCount to clarify which tractor specifically that he wanted for the programs. And these are the ones that he brought recommendations after talking with the sponsors of those programs, is my understanding.
So do we have any other bids then for the other two dealerships here in town, here in our county?
Not to my knowledge, since this is on state contract.
I mean, I know they participate in state contract as well. That's why I'm wondering if we're, I want to make sure that we're supplying, for Dr. Weeks, you said it, buy local, be local. I want to make sure everybody that's local gets a chance to be a part of this. Does that make sense?
It does, yes, sir. We try very carefully to make sure we are in compliance with all bidding laws that are required by us, and as much as I agree with that philosophy of buy local, be local, buy local, purchase local, keep our money local, as an individual, and we also talk to our staff about that. Unfortunately, the comptroller's auditing rules and our bid and our purchase procedures do not allow us to show preference to one dealer over another. So,
Well, that's what I'm getting at. If we're just getting from one dealer, a bid from one dealer, we're showing preference to this dealer over the other dealer. They have state contracts as part of their business as well. To me, I don't mind who we get it from, but I think we need to get everybody that's able to do a state bid in this town and in this county an opportunity to bid on these school purchases.
As I understand it, I think what I'm hearing, there are some of the local folks did have an opportunity in as much as they're part of the state bidding process. Dr. Weeks, is that, am I understanding it correctly?
Yeah, it's my understanding that they have an opportunity to give a bid to the state, and again, I certainly don't know anything about tractors, but if we talk about widgets in general, if my company sells widgets, I have an opportunity to give the state a bid saying I will sell a widget for X number of dollars. And so that goes on to a state bid list, and multiple pages of items are on those bid lists. And so when our supervisors go out to that bid list and they see an item that they would like to purchase, that is the recommendation from that department.
So it has to be the lowest and best. Should be. I mean, Mr. Hall, can you speak to that?
That's when you're on the state bid contract, you have submitted your lowest and best price to the state of Tennessee for the item that is being requested.
Right.
And so I would assume that this is the lowest price Workmaster 50 on the state contract or like tractor. I don't know. I just thought this is the one that's recommended.
Yeah.
And if you're on the state contract, then you're allowed to have that sold without the school system going out and having its own public bid process.
Read that state contract and it says that you're very active tractors, it's a discounted price, so it's a percentage off wherever you buy, whether you get the 30 horse or 50 horses, a certain amount off of this price, how they come up with that. It's not like it'd be for a truck or a car for the police department where this car is that much money. It's that much of a discount that's allowed, so.
But by not seeing other bids, we are assuming that this is the lowest bid.
No, sir. If it's on the state contract, it is the lowest bid.
But Kubota and John Deere also are on a state contract. What were their bids?
When the supervisors spec this item saying I would like that item, that's what I understand he did. I understand he said and again, I don't know about tractors, but I assume he went out and said I need a Workmaster 50, and that's the item I'd like, and that's the one that they'd like to use in their program, and we need a rotary cutter and a box blade and a forklift attachment. And that's how I assume that operates. And that's how we operate the rest of our office that I do know things about. If we need paper, we know what kind of paper, what weight of paper, what size paper that fits our copiers, and we go purchase that paper. I assume that's the responsibility I've replaced with my supervisor to do the same thing with items that they need for their department.
I'm not against the bid, or the getting a tractor. Did the two ag teachers see anything from the other companies?
Yes, sir.
We did, Mr. Weaver and I spent about a half day going to different dealerships in town, looking at specifically 45 horsepower tractors, which I can pick in one particular kind of, looking specifically at that series of tractors, that weight of tractor from all three dealerships. New Holland seemed to be the most ergonomic. It was the only one with a shuttle picture, if you know what a shuttle picture is, which would be easier to operate in the confined spaces. So, and with that also being on state contract, it just seemed like that was the best option for our program.
What's a shuttle shifter?
It's where you shift between forward, reverse, up here.
Beach.
Well, I thought they wanted gear,
It is.
Okay.
So the other two manufacturers didn't have any type of shuttle shift on them. Is that what you're telling me?
In that series model horsepower range, basically.
Does this meet your all's needs? And do you, based on what your understanding of is a pricing, is this a fair price? Is it?
So, and I think we had signed a letter.
Right.
One,
we looked at a Kubota and a New Holland side by side, being at Wallace did. We chose the New Holland because of the specs of the certain things it had. It had a dual hydraulic valves on the back of it. The standard Kubota did not. It was about a 900 pound weight difference on that tractor. That being extra heavy, that added a lot to us for what we're going to do on the hillside. It was just a bigger frame tractor. We weren't comparing what we're looking at, so that's the reason we wrote the recommendations we did for that one. We feel really confident in the one that we recommended to Dickson.
Other questions, thoughts, considerations? Okay, we'll take these individually. Does the board want to take action on the Workmaster 50? A motion to approve that request for purchase by Creekwood.
Move to approve.
A motion by Mr. Parker. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Brogdon. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Vanderbilt,
Yes.
Ms. Brogdon,
Yes.
Mr. Haley,
Yes.
Mr. Chadwick,
Yes.
Mr. Underwood,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
all ayes.
Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the Boomer 45 T4B request by Dickson County High School? As I understand,
Motion to approve.
we have a motion by Ms. Brogdon to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Chadwick. Any further discussion, questions, comment? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Vanderbilt,
Yes.
Ms. Brogdon,
Yes.
Mr. Haley,
Yes.
Mr. Chadwick,
Yes.
Mr. Underwood,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
all ayes.
Motion carries. Under 3B3, budget discussions. Skip a couple of packets.
Let's go back and pick up 3V2,
32.
bid number 3. This is CT training equipment. This is a robotic training package from the vendor Technical Training Aids. And the quote was $40,732. The funds come from the Spark grant, and Mr. LeCount has brought that recommendation to us.
Very good. Board members, questions on the CTE equipment, the robotic training package? Dr. Weiss, just for clarity, that's the 40,732.
Yes, sir. And there's a second purchase for a tabletop Megatronics learning system at 54,426. And again, I assume the board would like to take those separately.
Yeah. Any questions about the request for the robotic training package?
Were these bids the same way? Were these?
Yes, and these are brought to CTE training. It's a module, a curriculum module that is brought to CTE. And again, it was he looked at a couple of packages, and this was the one that fit his recommendations. In my understanding, it was the sole vendor of that product.
Questions, comments, or thoughts? Is there a motion to approve the request for the cost of the robotic training package?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Haley. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Parker. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Vanderbilt,
Yes.
Ms. Brogdon,
Yes.
Mr. Haley,
Yes.
Mr. Chadwick,
Yes.
Mr. Underwood,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
all ayes.
Motion carries. Next for considerations is the CTE equipment, the tabletop Megatronics learning system.
Again, Megatronics is used by our dual enrollment students. This is a program that we jointly have with Nashville Tech, our local training class here, and they use this in their dual enroll programs. And that price is $54,426.
Dr. Weiss, is this the table that we were shown one meeting?
No, this is for mechanical training,
Okay.
so it uses hydraulic, several other.
District certification, yes, sir.
Yeah.
It makes what they would see.
Gotcha.
It's great.
Yeah. Well, that's all the four is impressive. Other questions, comments, or thoughts? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the request for this megatronic box? Perfect, Mr. Underwood. We have a motion by Mr. Underwood to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Haley. Any further discussion or comment? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Vanderbilt,
Yes?
Ms. Brogdon,
Yes.
Mr. Haley,
Yes.
Mr. Chadwick,
Yes.
Mr. Underwood,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
all ayes.
Motion carries. Any other considerations for purchases? Yes. All right. We'll move on to item 3B3, the budget discussion.
Board members, if you'll recall, the mayor has asked that we have our budget to them by their May 1st meeting of the county commission. We have made no changes to the budget since we shared it with you at our planning session. And again, our recommendation is that we go through that line by line at our April 20th planning session, which is scheduled for Dickson Middle School. However, anything that you would like us to continue to look at, continue to consider for the budget, if you'll let us know that, we'll be glad to add those or recalculate anything. As we discussed at our last planning session, we are still waiting on state health insurance rates, which we do not have, state retirement rates or any calculations that they have there. We're still waiting on a couple of contracts that we need some finalized numbers on those contracts. And then based on the discussion that we had, I think it was probably by consensus that we not prepare a separate capital outlay budget, but rather put those capital outlay items within our budget now, or to continue the process that we've had in the working with the mayor in the way that we have done that to date. And so again, we'd like to, if you have any general questions that you'd like to ask tonight or anything like that, that we can continue to work on. We've had a meeting this week with State Department of Education and Finance. We anticipate another TISA recommendation, which will be how many state dollars that we receive, and we anticipate receiving that tomorrow or the first of next week. And so that'll help us build our revenue around those dollars. But again, we feel very comfortable with the budget that we've brought and think that with the new TISA and the new influx of TISA dollars, we'll be able to maintain this budget. And again, I think I shared with you that highlight page that you had, and if you need another copy of the budget or the budget highlights, we do have copies of that for you if you'd like.
Board member questions about the proposed budget discussion? Yes, sir, Mr. Haley.
Got a couple of them, not questions, but just comments. One of them is the line item for capital outlay. We have a policy that says, and Mr. Brogdon hit on this last month, that we have a policy that we'll do an annual planning for capital outlay projects. And I think I wanted to clarify my comments last month. I'm not for doing line item dollar budget on there, but I am very supportive of beginning to adhere to that policy where we actually put, for lack of better words, a wish list. I know y'all do one, but
right.
The board's never been a part of that. And I get calls quite often when people want me on the wish list, and I just call and tell y'all to where you at. But I think maybe some more board involvement is what I think the commission will look at more of the dollar amount. So if we could probably lean toward that direction. And my second thought is we're wanting to get this to the county commission by their May meeting. Is that right?
Yes.
This budget, especially with the new funding module coming in, you mentioned that y'all expect that tomorrow or next week. I think going through this budget is going to take a little bit of a work session. And I almost would say maybe consider doing one before the 20th and leaving the 20th on the calendar. Go from the 20th to the 27th is a voting meeting. Doesn't give a lot of time for a second to address things. And I think some understanding by myself would be very important on the vote for that. The questions. I could spend 4 hours talking about tonight if you want to, but I don't think that's what this meeting's really about as much as an action meeting. So that's just my suggestion. I don't hear from the rest of the board about that, but so.
Concur.
Mr. Parker.
I've made about 3 copies of what you gave us. I've got more highlights and more stuff. I don't even know where to start asking you. Now, if you're going to go line by line, I only got questions about every other line. So we can, if you want to do that at a work session, I'll just pack this up till next month. But I do got questions about every other line, not every other line, every third line. A few things I just want to ask about, and if we're going to go over it in a couple work sessions, don't we? And I might be wrong, but I've been told that we have about 15 teacher positions that did not get filled this year. Is that close?
More than that.
It doesn't have to be accurate, just close.
There are several, yes, sir.
If we didn't fill them all this year, we're adding 5 more, with hoping that we're going to fill all of them plus 5 next year.
Yes.
Uh,
And most of those, let me go ahead and expand on that a little bit. There are some that maybe a principal had at his or her school that's, maybe I lost a teacher that left in the middle of the year, so part of that salary is not expended that year. Maybe we were just unable to find someone to expend that item, and so that item is still in the budget. And that's fine at that school, but maybe at another school, Mr. Parker, there could be like the growth positions that we've added. Most of those are necessities. So because of class size, the meeting of the class size minimums, we have to add that position at that school. That doesn't diminish the principal's need at school A, just because school B has grown. So we still have those 2 positions.
Okay. I think I asked you this. I don't remember what your answer was. So I'm gonna ask it again. The instructional coach. We're adding 2 instructional coach replacements. So we have 2 moving somewhere else or quitting.
We had 1 leave during the middle of the year. We
Okay.
did not replace that one because, again, we had some vacancies. So it didn't want to take a teacher out of another classroom and create another vacancy for that. That is a leadership position, which requires some specific training as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that position, we want to make sure that we recruit and get that person trained so that they can start the next school year. So one of those is a refilling of a position. The other one will be the new position, and that will ensure that we have every school will have an access to an instructional coach every day for every period at that time.
2 instructional coach replacements shouldn't change the budget though, right? They should have been budgeted.
It's going to be 1 new.
Okay.
Yeah.
1 new.
1 new.
Well, I'll wrap all mine up for one of our work sessions because I can stay here for 4 hours.
And if there are questions that the board has early and would like to send any questions, I'll be glad to answer those, and I'll reply to everyone so that everyone can see those answers. And if that helps expedite anything, I'll be more than happy to do that.
Okay.
And then again, we can hit any general topics of conversation during the planning session.
I would encourage the board to do that in as much as it gives everyone literally an opportunity to see it black and white. And if it's shared, we all are on the same page. I found that to be beneficial. Mr. Haley?
And I agree with comments and that answers, direct answers. It's kind of like saying a text that you're gonna ask. That's a long discussion for an answer. Right. It's just, to me, it's not my discussion or too much communication and understanding. And there's probably some questions I could see in, but I think they would open the questions. And I think the year Ms. Frazier did a little training for the board members with a little book, probably the best thing I remember in all the years doing budget, because there was a full understanding. I think that's where all the questions come in from, it's like a full understanding. I can see questions, but I just don't think, I think it might take 2 to do it, because we're always catching the same.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I'd like to see it just for budget overview, not, other items go the same thing where you report down and you get down to, we got to go in 30 minutes.
Right.
So that's just my thoughts.
Mr. Chairman?
What's the role of the high school dual enrollment facilitator?
That is included in the Mr. LeCount presented that to us at our December meeting. That is where we have a dual enrollment program that is taught virtually. And so we can imagine if we were in a classroom tonight, the class would be coming through the video screen and be presented to us electronically. But we need a facilitator in that classroom to take roll, to take up homework, to maintain order. Those managerial type positions that a facilitator would do. And that is, if I'm not mistaken, that's a requirement of that ISM grant. If not, I know we had talked about using a non-certified or a non-licensed person to do that rather than taking a licensed teacher to sit in and actually, collect papers and maintain order. So we could use that as a classified position. And there's one of those budgeted for each high school.
So what classes are offered virtually during Corona?
This, I don't have a specific list of every class, but I mean, we have everything from psychology to English, statistics, biology, anatomy, physiology, calculus, statistics.
The beauty of that facilitator is there could be 30 of us in that class, all on taking a different dual enrollment class that are like Chromebooks on, and you could be studying foreign language dual enrollment, and I could be doing personal finance class. So one position, and we're all taking different dual enrollments that fit us needs.
All right. Board
Is
member,
that like a new position then that we're gonna be?
Yes, sir. It's required of the ISM grant that we talked about, the $4 million grant that we received.
So we're gonna have to approve that, is that right? See, are they gonna have like a job description?
Yes, sir. They already have a job description.
all right, other questions about the budget discussions that we're hopefully going to move forward with? Sounds like two. How about April the 13th?
It's pretty rare that I can't be available.
You can't be available?
One by being in the office and not know what's going on, but I do have that one night in the next 3 months booked that I can't change.
Okay. All right.
After requesting it. Any other?
Want to do this 6th, 7th tomorrow night?
I'm new tomorrow night.
April the 6th. Your birthday? All right.
Right, let's have it on the 6th.
Whose birthday?
Get some birthday cake.
I'll bring a cake.
No, I didn't say that for that.
You never tell your birthday after a meeting.
Well, see, I'm new.
All right. Is that what we want to do the 6th then?
It's fine with me.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
All right. How about April the 6th, which will be next Thursday? We'll rejoin next Thursday. So April the 6th, we're looking to set a work session for the 2023-24 budget discussion.
Do 6 o'clock.
6
Good Friday.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. It is a designated holiday, religious holiday. Well, it's a holiday. It's a designated state or federal. But any issues with that? Anybody?
What other date?
Sir?
What other date?
No, April the 6th.
Okay. 6 o'clock.
Everyone good with that? All right. April the 6th at 6 at the Central Board office. And it'll be, again, solely for the budget discussion. Any other discussion on 3B3? Hearing none, we'll move on. Under 3C1, the building and ground school facility. Dr. Weeks.
Board members, Ryan is here, first of all, to discuss updates for the Dickson Middle School project. So do you have that for us tonight, Ryan?
Yes, good evening.
I have 3 projects. One is underway. That's Dickson Middle School driveway. We were obviously delayed, right around Christmas. Some really bad rain and what have you, but, the base is down. We've begun the concrete work and the entrances and the, ADA approved ramps for egress from the school. We should be through concrete work by next Friday if the weather doesn't delay us anymore. And then we'll be able to come in and pave, put handrails up, do the parking lot, stripe it, get it all ready to go. We were also delayed because we've never done a job that was on county property where Dickson Middle School is. And we had a situation that came up about egress from the school because we had torn out one of the porches. The fire marshal came in and stopped us, and we've never had that situation. But when Ms. Harrison, we developed an egress plan in case of fire alarm or actual fire, and fire marshal did not like that plan. He thought one of the exit areas too close to the kitchen, so we had to stop work until it was sent to the state fire marshal for review. They sent us back a letter, and no review letter, which meant what we had was fine to begin with. So we were, as soon as we got that approval to go back, we had lost our concrete crew for a little while, but they're back now and we ought to be in good shape. We hope that the project will finish by 3 weeks from tomorrow. Weather permitting and all other factors. One thing we have to do is we have 2 detention ponds we need to put out in front of that parking lot to take care of the runoff from the additional asphalt as opposed to all natural material. So should be through it. We're hoping our schedule right now ends up completing 3 weeks from tomorrow. On the Charlotte Middle School project, we are coming down the stretch here on getting schematic designs. We feel like, and thanks for your help for affirming that, is adding that wing in an area that makes the land use more efficient, giving us additional parking in the middle. We have a demolition crew that's ready to go. We've got a great crew. We've used them twice before, great success, and also best price. So that's going to be the first thing we'll do. And talk to Ms. Killebrew, and we're going to work out temporary parking arrangement so they can do the demo work. We have to abate some of the asbestos situation in the old tile in the building, and so that's part of the demolition to get that abated and get that hauled off. We're very good shape because our demolition contractor said that his I don't know if any of you ever use dumpsters or not, but the price of dumpsters has gone up terrifically, and so he's given us a really good break. He's only having to pay for about maybe 27 or 8% of the increase for the dumpster. So he held this price tight because he's done good work for us in the past. We'll probably use him again. He's from Robertson County, and they came over and looked at the potential a few years back. There was a potential for doing demo work on the old Oakland school behind Dickson Middle School, and that never took off. But again, we have a good demolition contractor, and with the hope that'll take probably about 20 days to get that demolished, put in dumpster, and hauled over. And all of his pricing includes all of that when he starts work. I've got to give Brad Martin in the next 48 hours, give him some feedback on the actual dressing rooms we have planned for the new Charlotte Middle School gymnasium. I told Ms. Killebrew earlier that too many times you don't have enough storage around gymnasium activities, equipment, etc. So we're working hard to make sure that we don't leave them short on the storage side. So we're very pleased with how it's going to look. One thing we're able to do is cut out the entire ring road. We talked about that at the work session because what's there now is being served in accordance to the fire code and access to the building. So we'll just have to put one little spur back there around the new building toward the dumpster and where the fire trucks can get in and out of there. we're in the process now of working on picking out, we'll have some input on this. Be happy to bring you some swatches and some, try to match up the old brick as much as we can. We'll try to, do a good job of the new entrance. The school is going to really take a lot of pressure off that entrance now, which is very crammed. Workspace is not adequate. So that's going to be a major part of that improvement on the Charlotte Middle School, on the new entrance that's going in. It should not be any problem. We've already talked to traffic engineers about, loading and unloading the school, to make sure it's done efficiently and as quickly as possible. We also have a re-roof on that entire school that's going to be in part of the project Lane Lyle from Lyle, Cook and Martin is going to be, he did the roof at Oakmont. He specializes in roof work. And so he'll be coming back to us with a plan there. And we probably will use Maxwell Roofing, who did a good job in Oakmont and very efficient in their work there. And then, of course, we're looking at what money is left over from the Charlotte Middle job and where it can be used. I spent some time this afternoon at the Dickson Elementary, where the new classrooms will be. We've got enough room there. We've got to make sure that our parking and the turnaround space is protected. That should be a pretty simple thing to do. People smarter than me. So I think we'll get that done and have a good plan for that. And that's, to add the classrooms there, that's by far the least expensive, because if we went down in the hole there, bucking those grades and working on that really add a lot of cost to the job. But I think there's going to be plenty of room there. It could be a nice addition to that campus. Any questions?
Mr. Haley?
Oh, we're still looking at the cafeteria at Dickson Elementary.
Yeah, we'll, like I said, by the way, when we bid in the Charlotte Middle job, any staff member or elected official is welcome to come to our bid opening. We'll have multiple bids on each line item. We don't do lump sum bids. We do each line item, and everybody's there around the table. We'll have a place for you. Just let us know if you're coming so we can have enough chairs. You can see the bids as they go around, how we pick the lowest and best bid. Again, I know I heard that mentioned earlier, but the lowest is not always best. And if there's one outlier that's really cheap, we know what that potential is there. So we've had a lot of success in bidding it in. That'll be done in Bell Construction's conference room. And there's plenty of room in there. The bids will be up on the board, so everybody will have a chance to look at those, and just let me know if you plan to come or like to come see that. It'll give you a lot of confidence in the process. And Mr. Haley, I'll bring them back to the work session. I'll bring you back a plan on what all we can get in that last phase. Some is going to depend on what the Charlotte job comes in at. We're going to do some window improvements like we did at Dickson Elementary and put the new roof on the entire school. And so we haven't bid that out yet, but we're getting ready to send out the bids as soon as we're at schematic design with architects right now. We'll move into design development, the DD plans, and we can bid off the DD plans. And then when the construction drawings come in, that rarely affects the bidding process at the end of the job, at the end of the bid process.
To tack on to what Mr. Haley is asking about Dickson Elementary with the cafeteria, will there need to be additional dollars added in for drawings like we did with Charlotte Middle? Are we ready for that?
Red's got some ideas. We've been through that. The gymnasium with the access to it's not ADA compliant. That needs to be dealt with, and the cafeteria situation needs to be made a little larger to feed the, particularly if we get additional students there and you have limited lunch periods. we'll try to stay with 3 lunch periods, and that way we can, we'll probably need a little bit more, little work done on the kitchen.
Well, I guess what I'm asking is, from a timing perspective, if we need to go to the county commission and ask for additional dollars for those, for that architectural work, are we gonna need that
Right.
sooner than later, or,
Well, we know what the total dollars are, but
okay?
we will do Charlotte Middle and as low as we can, and still have the quality we're looking for.
Ron, I think the board's asking about the design fees that we've committed to, and I believe we've committed $140,000. And I think the questions are, we don't need any additional dollars at this time for that.
We could possibly need some for the kitchen, and it depends what Brad comes back with.
Okay.
He is going full speed right now,
Okay.
getting us ready for the Charlotte bid, so we can get that going, and that'll let us plan a lot better beyond that.
Okay.
Mr. Underwood,
Can you tell me how deep this water retention pond's gonna be in front of the,
It's
middle
still
school here in Charlotte?
Civil in Charlotte. Can't tell you about Charlotte. I can tell you about
About the one there in Charlotte?
Dickson Middle. I'll have to check with civil engineer, civil site design group is doing that,
Yeah.
and I'll have to. It'll be to the calculations that are required,
Yeah.
depending on the amount of water that goes into it.
Well, there'll be a fence around that because that's gonna be right out in front of the building. There by, and kind of obstruct that view if you put a fence around it or whatever. I was just wondering how deep that pond's gonna be.
Well, it's usually only deep at all for a very short period of time until the flow can drain at the rate that they specify. So if it creates a problem or safety hazard, then we'll do that. Normally we don't.
So let me ask you this. So we're gonna have a pond there because we don't have enough drainage or underground to be able to pull all the water off of that parking lot and that new school. Is that why the pond's going there? Because we don't have anything there now, if I'm not
Well,
mistaken.
the impervious parking lot will dictate how much water is going in there in a different range. I depend totally on them. I can't tell you, but we generally in a school, we do not have enough flow to create a safety hazard or bad eyesore there. So I can get that for you for the next work
I
session.
mean, I just don't want an eyesore out in front of it. I mean, we're gonna have a nice building here and a nice parking lot, and it's gonna be real pretty, and then that water retention pond right out there.
Right. Well,
And
again, we'll generally you can't see the eyesore part of it because unless maybe in the parking lot you could under a heavy rain situation, but as you come in, it's above the level of what you can see from your car or from pedestrian traffic. But I'll get you that from civil site.
each one of these lines is correct me if I'm wrong, the solid line to the solid line is 10 foot. Each other line is 5, or excuse me, 2. Is that right?
They
The
generally,
solid line's 10, dotted line's 2.
these are probably 10 over here going down to the football field.
Solid line 10,
Yeah.
dotted line 2.
I think so. I think the, well,
I did that right.
Yeah. There's 5.
it's going to be what's required by TDEC. Everything.
But the only reason we're doing that is because we don't have the underground capabilities to handle that water during the rain.
But you don't want to put it in the ground, it's.
I mean, we've already got drainage,
Yeah.
throughout the road, and what I'm asking is, or what I'm trying to clarify is that is not gonna be able to handle the added non-pervious.
Yeah, it'll hold it for X amount of time.
No, I mean, the gutters in the road. In
Yeah, you can't expose them without having some capture of that water before it gets to them.
you think it'll overwhelm the system that's there? Is that what you're saying?
I think the TDEC will tell us that, and we'll do it to their expense. We don't have any leeway there, of course, because they're the final say on that. But I can tell you, Civil Site Design Group is about as good as it's done. And they'll do it exactly what needs to be done.
I was gonna say, Mr. Underwood, that's an engineering
Yeah.
issue for
Well,
sure.
that's what I was trying to figure out. We don't have that now.
Right.
And we're not, I mean, we are gaining, I mean, we're putting out a little more concrete, but not much more. And then they've got a retention pond in the front there. And I just want clarification on that. I'd sure hate for that thing to look ugly.
Well, I'll tell you
Spend all
what,
that
I
money.
promise you won't.
The additional part,
Uh-huh.
the additional part, of freight runoff, but when they built that building, they weren't the same guidelines for
Right.
water management, so that's probably a lot of it. So
That's what I'm,
Yeah, the engineers will have all the specs to you from TDOT, they'll have to approve it. It'll be on site doing that.
saying.
Other questions about, yes, sir, Mr. Hammond?
just a comment, and I appreciate working on that number, but I think what we decided was Sharp's a priority, what's the elementary is next. And one of the big factors next to elementary is more classroom space to get rid of the portables and to work on that cafeteria area. And I would rather focus on what we need in the need basis as opposed to we can't approach that because we're gonna be 2 million short. And if it winds up justifiably being different, then we have something to carry something that's the need basis. But not going to address that cafeteria in the right format now to carry us for years to come, I think will be a step backwards.
Yeah.
So while focusing on the number, don't focus on the number, if that makes sense.
I can assure you that when we bid the Charlotte job out, the local contractors are gonna have a huge advantage in doing that work.
It's not my intent as much as I don't want us to limit what we need based on a ceiling that was put on 5-6 years ago.
Right, I know what you're saying.
I think that's gonna probably change based on that.
Yeah, we don't need to rob Peter to pay Paul. We need to make sure each job is done right and at the least amount of cost.
I'd rather do Dickson and do it right, with cafeteria and all, or leave one of the two. But I think a halfway, putting the classrooms in, like we've done at Burns and White Bluff, I put Bible in 8 classrooms, was in hindsight a big mistake. I don't want to do that with the cafeteria here. If it needs to be done, let's lay out what we need to do and let's ask the K Commission from a need basis.
Right. Well, Brad will jump as soon as we get to the DD stage, which is probably gonna be, because we need, Charlotte is a 12-month build out. Back can do it at 10 and a half to 11. We'll try to, but we're up against it right now to turn him loose on getting into the DD so we can bid the job out and control the cost.
Mr. Parker?
How much under budget are we gonna end up with at Dickson at middle?
How much under budget?
Yep, how much is gonna save us?
Right now, we're sitting at, $410,000 was made available. And right now, we're at 402, 403. And we might cut some off that, because we usually do that along the way when we can.
If it's cut off and it is under budget, as y'all say that most y'all's jobs come out to be, where is that money? Does it go back into a fund balance?
It just is never spent. And however it's used, that lady right over there, it's a hard bargain.
And I'm asking, like if, and I'm just wondering if that money, so $410,000, if that was the right number, was approved by the county commission to come out of our fund balance, correct? So if we don't use $410,000 on that project, it just doesn't come out, or is it out
It stays in.
to do something
That-
like,
That'll stay there.
okay, and we just don't
Don't-
get it out, okay. I'd like to see you come in under a little bit.
I would,
So board members,
You get rehired when you do that.
It would help that Charlotte bid.
that gives us an update on those two projects. And we also we're looking at the CTE building, potentially at Creekwood. Is that
Yeah.
something that we're moving forward with?
Just getting cranked up on that.
Okay.
Brad, we got a gun to his head right now.
Hmm.
Shouldn't make those kind of references to
Nowadays.
but we're really pushing him hard on Charlotte, and as soon as we can get on to the TPE building at
Crickwood will be.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you a lot for the information time. April 20th, we're having a second work session. And I know we don't want to load up maybe the first work session. I would suggest maybe we put at least these projects on for review, see where we are. So April the 20th, you all good with that? Put those on for review, okay?
Same place,
Yes, sir.
same time.
Yes, sir. And Dr. Weeks will circulate a agenda. Any other comments, Dr. Weeks? Yes, sir.
Do board members under item C1 under facilities, we had talked about the issues with the Creekwood High School roof at our planning session. And to engineer that job, if you recall, they suggested laying another roof on top of that and deciding what they needed to do. The engineering cost would, we've been told, would not exceed $60,000. That doesn't mean it's going to be 60, and I'll do the same as you say, Mr. Parker. I think we push them to stay under that as much as possible. But if the board would like to approve that tonight, that could get them started on that. So it'd be a engineering on the Creekwood High School roofing repairs over the gymnasium, not to exceed 60,000.
Board member questions, comments, thoughts on
Move to approve.
the motion by Mr. Parker to approve the recommendation of the engineering to be under $69,000 for the Creekwood High School roof project.
60,000, right?
I had
60.
60. I apologize. I had 60. 60. 60. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Second by Mr. Haley. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Vandervoort,
Yes.
Ms. Brogdon,
Yes.
Mr. Haley,
Yes.
Mr. Chadwick,
Yes.
Mr. Underwood,
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
All ayes.
Question, sir.
Motion carries, Mr. Haley.
Would you ask them, to give us location that they mentioned they've done this at another building or two? I'd be curious where they're at. I would like to look at them just to see what we're getting. And I think if they've done it, it'd be nice to see what the end result might appear like.
You're talking about assuming that
They've done a roof over somewhere else, they said in the paperwork, and I'm sure it's something easy to find, but just need work.
we'll get that for you. Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Other comments? Not that.
If we're staying on school facilities, I do have a
Yes, sir.
comment on school facilities. When Crickwood baseball and baseball got blowed over their backstop, unable to play at their park, middle of the season or beginning of the season. I've heard that we're waiting on insurance. Is that what we're waiting on is insurance?
Yes.
When insurance does come in, I would like to, maybe if the administration could speak with the coach, and I don't know what insurance gonna come in at, but involve the coach in, when we rebuild the facility to build it back, maybe freshen it up. And the reason I say that 20-year-old backstop, I think it had a little bit of damage in 17 and got put back up exactly the way it was with the same wall, but involving that staff in making sure that we do it one more for 20 more years.
Yes. Thank you.
Do we know a time frame on insurance at all on that?
I don't.
Not really. Thank you.
All right. We'll move on under 3D1, technology purchase.
Board members, Mr. Lewis has recommended that we purchase from CDWG wireless access points and the 5-year licenses that it takes to upgrade our wireless infrastructure in our district. This is partially funded through E-rate funding, and you'll see that explanation down there. E-rate funding is a part of all of our cell telephone bills or our home telephone bills, if anyone still has one. When you see that E911 charge on your that is an E-rate charge that goes to public schools and public libraries to provide funding for internet access. So you see the explanation down there. The district's portion would be $163,704, and that would come out of our budget, and then the other portion would come from the E-rate funding. And so we would request approval of that purchase.
Board members, questions about the request for the CDWG purchase? Questions, comments, or thoughts? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Brogdon to approve the quote as recommended. Is your second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Underwood. Any further conversation, questions? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Vanderbilt,
Yes?
Ms. Brogdon,
Yes.
Mr. Haley,
Yes.
Mr. Chadwick,
Yes.
Mr. Underwood,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
all aye.
Motion carries. Under 3E, Human Resources Monthly Report. Dr. Weeks.
Board members, you'll notice our human resources report for the month of March. It saddens me to announce Mr. Ferris Tidwell. Met with him and talked to him this morning. He is excited to proceed with his life, but we are sad to lose him as a longtime full-time bus driver. You'll see that retirement that he's announced. You see some resignations, approved leaves of absence, and hires, transfers, assignments, and reassignments. This is effective as right before spring break.
Board member questions about the Human Resources Report for March 2023.
Can you explain to me the homeless system navigator?
Yes,
Is that a
ma'am.
new position?
That is a position that is grant funded. We received through federal programming. It's basically a 1-year position or 2-year position, 2-year position that helps those who are identified as homeless students. That helps them transition if they have to move from school to school. It helps them transition from those schools. It is a community liaison position, so it would help connect them with any community resources that they need, particularly medical, food, clothing, and those essential pieces to help them get back on their feet. So it is a grant position that's funded by the federal government, and that position was funded during this month. And he started with us 2 to 3 weeks ago, and seen him out. He's interacting with families that are identified as homeless and working with our social agencies in the community to help identify other homeless students, helping them connect those resources.
Was he already a part of our system?
No, sir.
So is he under our system then, or is he under the federal government with their
He
grant?
reports to Dr. Collins.
So he has a job description.
Yes,
if he
absolutely.
does.
Does grant funding require to keep after that 2 years is up? Is it a requirement to continue it to get the grant funding?
No, it's just dollars that they have given us to serve that population for that 2-year period of time.
That's the end. Make a move from there. Thank you.
Yeah.
So this is a 1-year,
2 years.
2-year.
Mr. Parker.
What is LOA?
Leave of absence.
So like a retired teacher, LOA, I see that a lot, so I just don't know what that means. Like,
So for instance, 2 names up from the bottom, Mr. Lee is a retired teacher. He's a retired supervisor out of this office. He is filling a leave of absence for an
okay, so
assistant. So
leave of absence happened and we're filling it with a retired teacher. Gotcha, okay, cool, thank you.
Other questions, thoughts, or comments? All right, we'll move on to the next topic. Next, under the agenda, under 3H, Student Services Special Permissions. Dr. Weeks.
Board members, in your packets, you see the special permission request that we had received to date of printing of the board packets. Dickson County High School Winter Guard Championship at Western Kentucky University. Miss Wertz Health Sciences at Knoxville Convention Center for her HOSA. Dickson County High School FBLA Leadership Conference in Chattanooga. Dickson City Bands to Holiday World in May. Charlotte Middle, William James Middle, Dickson Middle, 8th grade Washington, D.C. trip. That is in May at the end of the year. And we've had 2 requests come in since board packets went out. One is from Mr. Long, Creekwood High School Band. The Winter Guard would be performing in the Winter Guard Festival in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And then Creekwood High School, there's a welding competition in Flemingsburg, Kentucky in April. I'll circulate those 2. Those are copies I'll need back. Please.
While those are circulating, questions on the other special permissions that have been submitted?
Much appreciation to those submitting those for addressing the form properly. I appreciate that.
How late in the year do we allow trips like this, getting close to, end of course testing?
We, unless it's an unusual circumstance, we do not let students travel during the end of course given days, particularly. The state has given us quite a bit of flexibility over what it used to be. There, Algebra 2 used to have to be given on a specific day at a specific time. And we do have some flexibility in that now. So there's more of a window. And so we have a little flexibility. If a group desired to travel, we have the ability maybe to shift their tests, say on Monday of a week if they needed to go somewhere on Thursday and Friday. So we make accommodations for students as best we possibly can. I'm not aware of any student group that has not been able to go because of testing windows, to my knowledge. Middle schools and elementary schools are certainly much more difficult than that. They're a little bit more defined and when those windows fall. But certainly they don't travel like our high schoolers do as well.
Other questions about the special permissions? Two additional ones that were submitted.
Move to approve.
A motion by Mr. Haley to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Brogdon. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Yeah, I'll need that original. Thanks, sir. All right, we'll move on to the agenda under 4A, approval of tenure. Dr. Weeks.
Board members, granting of tenure is something that both the state of Tennessee and our district takes very seriously. You see the requirements for earning tenure for a tenured teaching position at the top of the memo recommendation from Ms. Hall. You will see that the recommendations made from the principal come to our office. Each teacher, as you'll see, has to have a 5 years period of time. They have to be in a regular teaching position, not an interim position. They have to receive above expectations or significantly above expectations on their evaluations, meaning they have to have a 4 or a 5 on their evaluations in order to be granted tenure. And they have to be recommended by their principal and reviewed by the director of schools. And so Ms. Hall has a document from every principal recommending the list that you see. There are 2 pages. And because this is important to these individuals, I'd like your permission to read their names very quickly. Tanya Blackwell, Tabitha Brewer, Mackenzie Burgess, Audrey Chamberlain, Janie Clark, Sloan Davidson, Taylor Dawson, Elin Dunnigan, Jacqueline England, Carolyn Fish, Haley Gerber, Lisa Hall, Christy Hart, Patrick Hazen, Julie Harry, April Hodges, Jennifer Howington, Willie Hughes, Lindsey James, Jennifer Kelly, Sheree Lambright, Robert Long, Lisa McFarland, Kelsey Milton, Kelsey Parham, Cheryl Pierce, Cynthia Richardson, Sarah Robertson, Lindsay Saunders, Sherry Self, Josie Smith, Christy Sullivan, Montana Thompson, Rachel Taylor, Alicia Tolley, Roxanne Vandervoort, and Catherine Whitfield. I read those names because this is an honor in our system to be given tenure. And just to let you know, these individuals that are coming to us are doing an excellent job in the classroom, and we're very proud of them, the work that they're doing and the work they're doing with students. So I proudly recommend tenure for that list of employees. Again, tenure is granted by this board, but it is earned on the first day that they are reemployed for the next school year. So if any of these employees chose to leave our school system for any reason, they don't actually earn tenure until they start working that second year after tenure is granted. So again, we proudly recommend this list to you this evening and proudly recommend approval.
Board members, you have been read the list and Dr. Weeks' recommendation. Questions, comments, thoughts? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve? Yes, sir, I do. My wife is on this list, and my relationship with her does not necessarily impact my decision. I tell you,
Don't vote.
I'll,
I bet it does, I bet.
You don't have,
maybe a little bit,
you don't have to
but
vote on this one.
yeah, yeah. But, I will follow the recommendation, of the principal and supervisor. Nonetheless,
Motion to approve. Congratulations all.
we have a motion by Mr. Haley. Is there a second?
Thanks.
I think Mr. Chadwick beat you to it by word. So we have a second by Mr. Chadwick. Any further discussion? I reiterate what Mr. Haley said. Congratulations to all these folks.
Yes.
Roll call vote.
Mr. Vanderburg,
Yes.
Ms. Brockton,
Yes.
Mr. Haley,
Yes.
Mr. Chadwick,
Yes.
Mr. Underwood,
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
All ayes.
Motion carries. Next, under 4B, policy revision, first reading. Dr. Weeks. Mr. Hall, you want to weigh in on this?
Yeah, I'll pass down to you all, and my assistant sent these out. If you'll take one of each and pass them down. There might be some confusion, but you all should have received a red line from her on last Friday, March 24th, that has copies that I'm passing down to you on policy 1.403 agenda and policy 1.404 presentations to the board. We can take them up in either order, or I'm happy to answer any questions.
We'll take them up in quickly.
Yeah. And just so you, the green text in 1.404 is, that's been moved. It's not deleted, it's been moved. So, but in 1.403, I'll go through the changes we added. If we really just changed around some words, you can see the blue change there. Individuals desiring information about any item on the agenda shall direct inquiries to the director of school. And then in lines 13 through 17, we deleted that sentence, if you'll recall from our work session. We thought that was a little bit confusing in that timely manner issue. So we just took that out because we addressed that later on. And then in line 20 and 21, each speaker will ordinarily be entitled to speak for a total of 3 minutes. That is covered now in line 33, although not in the exact words, which is why it doesn't appear in green. And then the additions, or sort of cleanup, if you will, lines 28 through 31, how a commenter on the agenda will get onto the agenda and do that, and then the comment period. And then we added from the work section lines 34, at the end of 34, beginning with the chair shall, in line 35 and 36, which is about disruption of the meeting. The rest of the policy stays the same.
Board members, questions, comments, thoughts, any further additions or modifications?
Give me 1 minute. I will need to just read a couple of things on the rest conversion.
Sure.
Thanks.
Mr. Underwood? Mr. Haley, as you read, of course, we did a work session on this and I thought about it. On line 18, where it says, the agenda for regular meetings, however, shall ordinarily allow suitable time for the remarks of the public. I really think it's important that we hear from residents of the county. And when I say that, our meetings are held in public. They're not necessarily for the public. They're just public meetings. And I guess what I'm getting at is, I think it's important that if we're going to hear from folks, they're going to be residents of Dickson County. That's those are the individuals that we serve. And I think it's important that those are the people from whom we hear. So when it says remarks of the public, I'm suggesting that we say residents of Dickson County. And then on line 33, where it says public comment, I just want to further reiterate it, to say residents who wish to comment on an agenda item. So it would just, again, referencing back to residents of Dickson County. So I present that for your consideration.
And let me add on line 31, I left out a D. This limit is to maximize opportunity for the public to be heard on all agenda items, so. But in keeping with what Mr. Vandervoort just said, we might change public to residents.
Other thoughts, comments?
I'm good. I don't know if you had a couple of typos I had marked, and my version wasn't redlined, so that's why I had to read it. I had read it before I came, but it was a different version.
Yes, sir.
And anything that, as far as a typo or change in how, whatever, it can be done on second reading, so.
Yes, sir. This is first reading. First reading.
A lot better than the one I had.
So this is the one you had, it's just
Not the one I got.
rearrange the word.
I meant better than the one I received as well.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, and I don't know.
Quite okay.
Other comments, thoughts, considerations? Is there a motion to approve as proposed?
Looking to approve with the proposal you made in the wording of the first reading.
Yes, sir. We have a motion to approve as presented with those amendments. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Underwood. Any further comments?
Just so I'm clear.
Yes, sir.
Where it says public, I'm going to find that to be residents of Dickson County.
You're going to strike it through. My intent was to strike it through and put residents.
Yes, got it.
Other discussion? Mr. Parker?
The only problem I have with residents of Dickson County is we have some Cheatham County people that are zoned for us, out of zone, but we have a section of Cheatham County,
Landlocked section.
this landlocked section that I believe they fell out of zone, even though that they have nowhere else to go other than here. I'd hate to leave out a whole district of Cheatham County that's landlocked, that go attend our school. As far as, you know what I mean? As far as saying the residents of Dickson County can only speak, but we got people, I mean, if liable to build a subdivision over there, who knows, you know?
Residents of Dickson County are those with children attending on top, because you'll have some from the county here also on top of that.
That would change the motion. And you want to,
That would be, I would repeal my motion.
okay, we have well, let's take I think we already have a first and a second. I think properly we need to move forward with a vote on that motion.
Specify no vote will.
Correct.
Okay.
So we'll do a roll call vote on that motion.
Mr. Vandiver,
No?
Ms. Brogdon,
No.
Mr. Haley,
No.
Mr. Chadwick,
No.
Mr. Underwood,
No.
Mr. Parker.
No.
Okay, that motion fails. I think the proposal is residents of Dickson County. What's your proposed language, Mr. Haley?
I agree with Mr. Parker, and I like the fact that you would put the residents of the county or those with students attending the system. I would pitch that out.
With the district, in the district.
The district.
For those with students attending it within the district.
Residents of Dickson County, including those that have children attending from however you want to work that.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, all right. All right, any other discussion regarding this item? Is there a motion to approve it as amended?
Motion? Second.
Motion by Mr. Parker, second by Mr. Chadwick. Any further discussion? Mr. Hall, are you good with that? You understand? Okay. We'll do a roll call vote.
Mr. Vandiver,
Yes?
Ms. Brogdon,
Yes.
Mr. Haley,
Yes.
Mr. Chadwick,
Yes.
Mr. Underwood,
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Oh, aye.
Motion carries. Next, we'll pick up policy 1.404, Mr. Hall.
Yes, board members, so you'll recall the discussion around this policy, we've changed the name of the descriptor term of the policy to be more what it is appropriately, which is presentations and appearances before the board. The matters in line 3 through 10, you can see have been moved to the lines on the second page. Where line 1 that was struck as appeals to the board has been moved to page 2. Appeals to the board not related to employment or disciplinary appeals of the students. That was a little more descriptive of what's being appealed here, because we have other policies. And then we address those things that it's the same information in lines 7 through 14 that appeared in lines 3 through 10. They've just been moved to the second page. So now the policy begins at line 12 on appearances to the board, or appearing before the board. And we've added a requirement that they will state their name, address, and the subject of their presentation. You can see lines 21 and 22 have been moved again to the second page in lines 1 and 2. The new policy sort of just flowed a little better to put that at the end of the policy. And then there was a lot of discussion about the wording of this last paragraph here about individuals appearing before the board shall address remarks to the chair and may direct questions to individual board members or staff only upon approval of the chair. And so I think we finally got that straight. And then this is where the 5-minute time interval, which has always been in this policy for 5 minutes. And then the chair shall have the authority to terminate the remarks of any individual who's disruptive and does not adhere to board rules. And then if you turn the page to page 2, you can see all the material in green that was new. The blue title, line 4 and 5 was already discussed, but it just makes clear that this is not an appeal for employment or a disciplinary action. And then in line 16, that reiterates that idea and then gives a reference to the cross references, which are then in the footnote about what policies are followed with respect to employment or disciplinary appeals. And I think I captured all the changes from our work session. Happy to answer any questions.
Board members, questions about the revised 1.404 presentation appears before the board.
Line 27, after the red, there's a blue chair.
Yes.
Just hanging there.
Well, that chair, it starts only upon approval of and then all that red is out, and so it's approval of the chair. That chair goes with the rest of that sentence there.
Red.
It looks all alone.
Go ahead and read the entire that way.
So the sentence reads: individuals appearing before the board shall address remarks to the chair and may direct questions to the individual board members or staff members only upon approval of the chair.
I think it's the red one out there. They changed it to blue.
Okay.
Okay. Other comments or questions? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the revised policy 1.404?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Haley, second by Mr. Underwood. Any further discussion?
This is first reading.
Yes, sir. First reading. Hearing none, roll call vote.
Mr. Vanderford,
Yes.
Ms. Bronson,
Yes.
Mr. Haley,
Yes.
Mr. Chadwick,
Yes.
Mr. Underwood,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
all ayes.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda is 4C, discussion of bid. Mr. Chadwick.
Pass that down, please.
Can we get 5?
I understand that there are statewide bidding, organizations, that's not the word, but like I received from TSBA, they use by board as their state bidding. Talking with the gentleman at Kubota, he submitted Sourcewell. Okay. As you read our policies, it says there will be 3 bids. There's certain information on that bid envelope that needs to be there, and that's highlighted in green. Bid will be open. No bid will be open unless the outside of the envelope containing the bid provides the following information: the name, the license number, the date of the license expiration, the classification of the contractor applying for the bid, the prime contract, and for electrical, plumbing, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning contracts. Okay. Further over into the information that I got, the orange says envelope shall be clearly marked with roof and HV upgrades, include the bidder's name, address, date, and time of the bid. Does the orange supersede the green? The wording in the orange, is that more effective or more, does it supersede what's in the green?
Are you asking me, Mr. Chadwick?
I'm asking somebody. Yeah.
Oh, first, let me say, are we talking about a particular bid? Because if we're talking about a particular bid, then, and it's a potential for litigation, then as your attorney, I would recommend that I actually understand what we're trying to talk about before I say anything that might violate any attorney-client privilege on any information.
Well, this is the bid. This was the information put out for the central office here contract.
And so are you asking me is there a bid contest about this? Is there potential litigation?
No, I'm just looking at what was put out to request a bid for this work.
Okay, and your question is, does the orange supersede the green? I don't understand. I'm not understanding the question.
When you read the, maybe by the time I get through this, it'll clear up.
Again, let me say for the record, Mr. Chadwick, if we're talking about a specific bid contest that might result in litigation.
I'm talking about our process, the board process.
Okay. Got it.
Board process.
And so which policy on the process, just so I understand, which policy are you referencing?
The policy on our bidding.
Okay, okay.
Okay, on page 2, the general contractor for I know this work has already been done, completed. It was started before I was even elected, but 1.594 million. That was the contract. That was the bid that came in on all this renovation. Correct, right?
I don't have the bid in front of me, but I don't know for certain. I take it that it was.
I failed to. Oh, God. I left a page out. I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman,
When I examined the bid, it says on the bid envelope, there should be this information in green.
Our bid policy is, we have several, but if you're referring to 2.806, Are you talking about that bid policy?
Should have brought that up.
And
Sorry.
so there are competitive bidding requirements, and then we have bid rules
Right.
that are for the bid and instructions. And then those bids are opened and then scored according to the rubric or whatever the criteria
I
are.
left the page out.
I'm happy to, if you want to get me the information and we can discuss it.
Well, what I'm getting at is when I examined the bid packet, the paper that was attached to the outside of that bid envelope did not contain any of the items listed there in green. There was no contractor's license, expiration date, what have you. How many bids did we get for this work?
But again, Mr. Chadwick, I would, not be doing my job as counsel to this Board of Education if we discuss matters in open public that might be subject to litigation that could expose this board to potential liability. And I'm not sure the why and wherefore, and I haven't, you just presented me with this information tonight. I haven't had a chance to research any of this information, and I'm hesitant. It's not that I don't want to answer your questions, because I do, and I want to answer them in a public forum if appropriate to be answered in a public forum. But as your lawyer, I also do not want to engage in any sort of activity that could expose the board or the LEA to potential legal action.
Well, I apologize. And by putting this together, I forgot one page.
Let me suggest, Mr. Chadwick, certainly don't want to cut you off, but the board may be better served by getting with Mr. Hall. He is the board attorney.
Okay.
Discussing with him what the issue is, and then certainly ensuring that there's no legal issue with which we're dealing, and then come back and present the issue either at a work session so we can talk about it if it needs that type of detail and that much discussion, or at a board meeting. But certainly I think it needs to be, what I'm hearing from our board attorney is that
That's fine.
we're getting into some specifics, so we're naming
I'm
numbers.
just trying to understand why we don't follow our policy.
Well, and that may be a very viable question, but I think first we as a whole entire board are better served by at least talking with our legal counsel about what the issue is, and then going forward.
Okay.
Like I said, at a work session or at a regular meeting. However, at a work session, it at least gives us the opportunity to discern what the issues are and have a discussion item. It's more pinpointed. We're oftentimes here trying to move through issues that we're dealing with that sometimes need discussion. It's usually oriented around budget or policy. But certainly if it needs direct addressing by each board member, we would have an opportunity at a work session to discuss it. Is that
For instance, on the tractor bids, there were three vendors within city limits. But yet we only had one bid presented to us. And that's not knocking the ag teachers who decided on which tractor they wanted. I just think if our policy says there'll be three bids, why aren't the three bids presented to the board? And I know you can't go out and beg people to bid. Maybe sometimes only one or two bid comes in. I think we only had two bids on the forklift that the maintenance department bought. But I think we need to see all bids and let the people reason, say this is why we chose the Holland tractor, because it had the double hydraulics on it. I just think, but to say in our board policy that there'll be three bids and we only get 1, 2, Uh, you know, and I apologize for leaving that last page off.
No, sir, that's fine. But would you consider doing that, Mr. Hall?
Yes,
And then
yes,
allowing,
yes.
we can put it back on a work
Yes.
session agenda, maybe even on the sixth. I know Mr. Haley didn't want to necessarily add another topic on the agenda, but I don't want to crowd it. Maybe it's on the 20th. How about that? That's a work session.
I'm just asking for clarification on
Yeah.
why we don't follow our policy.
Are you willing to take that up on?
Yes.
On the way? Okay.
Yes.
We,
I'll have the other page.
yes, sir. Good. We'll move on to the next agenda item. That's okay. Mr. Chadwick, anything else?
No. No,
On,
not on this.
yes, sir. On item number 5, director's report.
Board members, first item I'd like to send around, Mr. Haley shared with us that under communication or director's report either way. Mr. Haley, I'll let you address it if you'd like to. Discussion on Summer Law Institute.
Now,
Yeah, please. Go ahead.
the TSBA does lots of training that we go to from time to time, and every summer they do one called the Summer Law Institute. And for 15 years running, I've fortunately, or unfortunately, not got my name in the hat fast enough for it. But this year I was committed to getting in. They do one in Gatlinburg, which is a day and a half course, and they do one in Jackson, which is a summarized course. It's compacted, but it's a long drive being there at 8 in the morning and staying next day, and you miss 2 sections of it. Anyway, they opened up registration last week, which was a great having spring break. So we all got the email. I'm sure y'all received it also. And kind of reminded me to call and check on it. I called the second day, and it was absolutely booked. The class only takes, I think it's 440. There were some class spots for attending left, but all the accommodations were already booked. And I checked with the hotel, and they literally said they were booked within 2 hours. That people have learned how to master that process to get in, but they booked the whole hotel. So they have some overflow hotels. I did not pursue those. There's plenty of overflow by trolley access, but I was concerned the class might get full because it was full last year and been full for many years before. So the lady at the TSBA said that she would hold a block for the board members here for the class. And I asked her to do that. It's non-committing. It doesn't mean you have to go. But she said that those spots would not be taken up till after sometime in April to let her know. I maybe want to make you aware that the program's there. If you haven't looked at it, you can see on their website what the agenda is. It probably falls second to the agenda every year as far as information. If you wanted to go or don't want to go, we do have room in the class. There are no accommodations other than being on the reserve list that let us know something is open. So it costs us nothing to be reserved. It costs them to hold it probably the next 2 to 3 weeks. Might want to let them know. Didn't bother you with it because it was still spring break weekend. It wasn't going to change anything. But if we're not, if some don't want to go, we'll probably do a release in the next few weeks. I do want to attend. You put me in, and if y'all want to study, you have time for that. That's what make you aware.
Which one are you?
I won't go to the day and a half program this year. I've been to the 1 day several times. While it's informative, it is a little more rush because it is a little shorter. But getting up and driving to Jackson wasn't a problem 10, 12 years ago. Traffic's different now than it used to be, and it's not an hour and 15-minute run any longer. So I prefer to do the day and a half one. I think it's in our budget, and the rooms are very reasonable for that too. If you're in the hotel they picked, it was $40 a night or so, wasn't much at all. The overflows, they won't give you the overflow information until you register for the class. They'll give you the list to choose from if you want to choose them or choose your own. So basically, just be aware of it.
Well, thank you, Mr. Haley.
That's July 21st and 2nd.
Bill, it's funny you ask, and you always remember it.
It is. It's on here. It's
You
on
can see
here.
that I'm blocked. So the 21st and 22nd, you're one time to go up the night before. Be a Thursday, Friday, but you do the next day.
Mr. Hall, will you hold up your book, your hold up your book that you're in front of your laptop. You read this entire document. We're not kidding.
They need to have this to go on that.
No, it's a good course. It's very informative. And it's good topics. So thank you, Mr. Hanley, for bringing that.
Just an awareness that if you wait 2 months, it'll be full. So it's
Yes, understood.
And if you do want to register, if you'll go ahead and let us know, we'll try to get you some accommodations. If you have some preferences, if you'll let Ms. Teresa know, she'll get you booked for that. And either location, if you want to go to Jackson, it's within your budget. We could do the night before in Jackson or the day in Gallenberg. So just let us know. Ms. Teresa will take good care of you.
Thank you.
Dr. Weeks, your report.
Board members, I mentioned earlier, we had state superintendent's conference this week, and so we had opportunity to talk much about the event in Nashville, and our hearts are saddened, our hearts are sickened by that event. And again, it's something you plan for, you train for, you talk to your staff about, and we take precautions for, but it again, you think it'll never happen, you hope it'll never happen, you pray that it'll never happen, but certainly we've all been touched by that, and we are saddened by that. And again, just I hope that you join me in prayer for those families, but broader a prayer for all mankind that has to place fear amongst our students and our staff who are just simply busy about doing their job and the work that they're challenged to do. Again, I know that we constantly and consistently work on safety protocols. We work on that difference in being convenient and what's convenient. It was not convenient when we built the Welcome Center at Dickson County High School, but it was the right thing to do. And again, that's been held up as a model checkpoint. But certainly that does not do everything to stop someone with ill and evil intentions. But it is an effort. We are thankful for our partnerships with SROs, with the sheriff's office, with local law enforcement agencies, and we have been in constant contact since this event on Monday. But I also say that that's nothing unusual. We work with them regularly. We talk with them. We plan with them. Our district participated in a threat assessment training. We were one of the first districts in the state to accept that challenge and to continue to train our administration and teachers on how to assess the threats that are out there. We were also, you received a phone call from me last night that I chose to send to everyone district-wide because of the seriousness of the offense that happened and the timing of that offense as well. And I know I've spoken to several people today, and there are all kinds of mixed emotions about that. Some people think we've done too much, and there's some people who think we've not done enough. And I know there's never the right answer. There's never the balance there. We were at Burns Middle School this morning with 4 sheriff's deputies. And again, that's something that we are blessed as a system to have an SRO in every one of our buildings. And again, in the budget that I proposed to you, we're asking for more SROs and more. But again, that is a deterrent, but that's not it's a preventative measure, but it does not prevent all possibilities of things that could potentially happen. Again, I just am thankful for our staff that are taking this very seriously. We talked about, and we've continued to talk about staff about locking their doors. That is an inconvenience to lock your door every time that you go out of that. As a high school teacher, I can manage that a little bit better. Students come in, they sit for an hour-long class, and they leave. In elementary school, there are students that come in, and 2 of them go to speech, and 2 of them go to language, and 2 of them go to reading interventions, and 3 of them go to the nurse, and they're coming and going all day long. And it's inconvenient to go open and close and lock your door every time that you go in and out of that. But unfortunately, that's where we are right now. And we're working with law enforcement continually to monitor our properties, to monitor our insides and outsides. But again, prevention has to be the place that we look. We again joined these groups in mourning what has happened, and we're sad for that. And again, it's just kind of sickening to have a conversation like this in this day and age when we all need to be better about how we treat our fellow human beings. Board members, you have an activity list of the Director of Schools activities. Ms. Teresa has one that I'll send you in the morning for staff activities. We are thankful to be back in this building. I know it's been enjoyable for this board to travel to schools to have planning sessions and regular sessions. I appreciate the principals and staffs that have gone out of their ways to welcome us and to make us feel welcome in their buildings. But it is good to be back in the building. And somebody came in today and they said, I thought you guys were under construction and done a lot of things to the building. I said, we have. It's another one of those examples of this board has spent a lot of money on this building. Unfortunately, you can't see a lot of it. You might see some brighter lights. You might see a little fresh carpet here and there, but the majority of it is up underneath that ceiling and on top of the roof, and we will not see that. So, as we continue to make improvements to our buildings, we're all thankful for those opportunities, and our maintenance department that does such a good job of taking care of our buildings and doing things like that. During the storm, I think I shared with you guys, we are, that was mentioned earlier, we are looking for several insurance projects. We are blessed that it was mostly small damage here and there, and we didn't have a lot of major damage. So that has been a positive for us. And again, there are lots of small little projects that need to be taken care of that way. We'll continue to look at those. And as our young lady who mentioned to us, the school year is wrapping down. It's hard to believe that April is this weekend, and April and May, there are events that go on and happen most every day or evening in schools, whether it's the start of our testing season, then awards programs, celebrations, graduations, and all those things that we're proud to celebrate with our students. And I thank you for the opportunity to share.
Thank you, Dr. Weeks. Board members, questions, comments for Dr. Weeks on his report? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to item number 6, communications. We have had a request to address the board by Mr. Eric Pauler. Mr. Pauler, P-A-H-L-E-R, Pauler, Mr. Pauler. Eric Pauler, not here. All right, we will move on to the next agenda item. Number 7, comments by BCEA. Ms. Madden.
Allow us to speak, my superintendent, and want to share what was happening in schools this past month. What we said, and they were involved in a project and Adam, which made it emergency to train nurse down to the schools to check the response times, emergency response team in case of quarantine happens, and they pass with flying colors. And the lady they sit down with me, because she does the strip runs also. We in James Middle School have been quite busy. The drug coalition has sent them on no vaping and encouraging the kids to stay drug free. They also received a grant from Dickson County Community Foundations for money towards their PBIS program, which is, I believe, like an incentive program, if I remember correctly. And then our junior symptom recycling club is collecting water bottles. They're going to take those water bottles and turn them into a canopy for the park. And then Miss Moore was really impressed with her yearbook staff when they put their yearbook together and talking about editing skills and meeting deadlines. Charlotte Middle reported they were the winners for the month of February for the secondary school attendance. The last thing I wanted to share, y'all, first of all, because we wanted, Stuart Burns wanted to invite you next Thursday night after school because we're having our steam night. You know, because anyway, we're just thinking about
I'm here in 4 hours.
And I really appreciate doing this talk.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing board members' comments. Thank you for what you do. Board members, comments? Ms. St. Clair, anything? Student representative, Nick Carson, anything? All right, thank you. Thank you all for being here. Mr. Parker, anything?
No, thank you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Haley.
Just want to echo Dr. Weeks' comments on the events. Thank them for what they do and the role I know all, a lot of those kids are when it comes to the safety and, no matter what arises, they do have your, interest up front and just appreciate what y'all did with that. Thank you.
Mr. Underwood. Mr. Chadwick.
Dr. Weeks, did you review the form I gave to HR about the exit review form?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you have any comments on it?
No, sir, not particularly. We'll probably add that as we start a new cycle. I didn't want to. We collect data all year long, and so I didn't want to change that data in mid-year. So as we look at that planning for the next year, we'll
I
consider
just
that.
think it's important that we know why people are leaving.
Absolutely.
Rogan.
I just want to congratulate all the tenured teachers, and I appreciate all of y'all staying for our meeting.
Oh,
Yes, sir, Mr.
I do
Chadwick.
have one other thing. Could somebody tell me something about Achieve 3000?
Yes, sir. That's we'll get. Andrea, can you do that? Not now. We'll just do it after.
Can we get your information? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. All right. So, just want anything else? Kind of echoing what Dr. Weeks said, just thoughts and prayers for his families and respected, better school. And thank you to our teachers who are out there on the front line and doing what you do. That being said, we're adjourned. Thank you all.